Firm is Mr. Kolol has joined. I'm not seeing him.
Yes, he joined. He will join, and DZD also joined. But DZD will join a little bit later because he just called me. That a little bit later he will be joining.
Fine. Yeah, the key players should be there. It's very crucial.
Yes, sir.
And I see Michael joining also. Michael Braverman, I mean. It's very much there on the next page. Great.
Yeah, he's not there. He's not here yet. So we have about 45 participants now. We are just going to wait for another 3 minutes. Michael has just joined. He's unable to unmute himself. Sasi, maybe you can help him, please.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Michael.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Morning, Michael. How are you?
All right, how are you doing?
Good.
So, Michael, we already have our 46 participants.
Sorry.
We'll just wait for 2 more minutes before the official start.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Dr. Said from Suwadanga, joining from Suwadanga. Dr. Said, Director of PPW. He is joining from Suwadanga district.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I'm in Chuadanga Deputy Director office. So I just came here and to join the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
The participants who can mute themselves, please do so, because I think in some cases, Sasireka is unable to do that. So if you hear some background noise, you may also check whether you are muted or not.
Except the presenters and key speakers, we request all the participants to mute yourselves.
Okay, so I think we could start. I think it's time, and we have 51 participants. We have all the speakers. Some participants are still joining, so I would like to ask Sasireka to just let them in the meeting room as they join. So good morning and good evening to everyone who joined today's meeting from different parts of the world. And a warm welcome first to all our partners from the Ministry of Agriculture, Bangladesh, USDA, USAID, and AFARI, and of course, all our participants. My name is Martina Spisiakova, and I'm the Knowledge Management Coordinator at AFARI. And I speak to you today from the beautiful city of Vienna in Austria. And together with my colleague Sasireka Rajendran, who is our project associate at AFARI, we will be moderating this Inception workshop on improving phytosanitary trade compliance in Bangladesh. So before our official welcoming remarks, I would like to ask Sasireka just to say a few words on housekeeping very briefly. Please, Sasi.
Hi everyone, like Martina, I would also like to join Martina in welcoming you all for today's webinar. Before we go into the actual presentation, we request all the participants to turn off your videos and mute yourself. We only have our key speakers turning on their video so that you have better bandwidth. We also request you all to keep your mobile phone in silent mode. You can ask your questions when Dr. Ravi and Dr. Michael are presenting in the chat box, and we will represent your questions and direct your questions towards them. If you have to speak in any case during the Inception workshop, you can raise your hands by using the feature available in the Zoom. So for your kind information, the meeting will be recorded and it is being live streamed in our Apari YouTube channel. So we will be also sending you a link for registering and marking as attendance for your presence today in this Inception workshop. Kindly follow the link and register in that page. And please change your names to your full name and replace your phone number or mobile models with your full name. So this will be the basic housekeeping norms that we would like to address before we go into the actual presentation. So with this, I would like to request Dr. Ravi Keterpal, Executive Secretary, Apari, to provide the welcome address.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Martina, and thank you, Sasi. Well, I have the proud privilege and pleasure to welcome all of you, all the participants from Bangladesh, from USA, and from Apari member countries, like from the Papua New Guinea, from Austria, and from Thailand, on this very important occasion of launching or the Inception workshop of the very important project, improving phytosanitary trade compliance in Bangladesh. This project is sponsored by USDA Foreign Agriculture Service and USAID, and is going to be implemented by Apari, Asia Pacific Association of Agriculture Research Institution, to which I belong to. Without going much into the project, because there are a lot of speakers who are going to tell you about the background, about the relationship with Bangladesh and the past, I would first of all like to warmly welcome Honorable Additional Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Mohammad Hassan Zaman Kolal, for really appreciating the importance of this project, accepting to host it in Bangladesh, and for accepting our invitation to attend the Inception workshop. I then have the honor to welcome Tyler Babcock, the agricultural attaché from USDA FAS in US Embassy at Dhaka, a young dynamic man, for his leadership to ensure that we have this project from USDA FAS, and also a man who is very keen to support government of Bangladesh for all the agriculture activities, especially for enhancing market access and trade. In the same context, I would like to welcome Tanveer Hassan, agriculture specialist from US Embassy, Dhaka, Mary Parish, bilateral program director of USDA FAS from Washington, and Jesse Mujitaba Fernandez, the international program specialist, in fact, the key player with whom we had been interacting, and another key player, I would say, Ivy Bourgeois, international program specialist of USDA FAS Washington. Besides, we have some observers from US, Michael Parr in a related project, and we have Rebecca Coggins, who may be joining shortly, who is again from USDA FAS as an international program specialist. I welcome all of you. And I also welcome and extend my very sincere gratitude to the Director General Department of Agricultural Extension of the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Muhammad Asadullah, without whose interest it would not have been possible to see the light of the day to have this project. He has his vision. He wants to take Bangladesh government forward by facilitating a lot of activities in agriculture, with special reference here to facilitation of export and import. I then warmly welcome the key beneficiaries of the project within BAE, where it is going to be implemented. Dr. Muhammad Azhar Ali, Director of Plant Quarantine Wing, and Dr. Muhammad Abu Sayyid Mia, Director of Plant Protection Wing. These are the two arms of the Department of Agriculture Extension, which will be the key beneficiaries and the place where we'll be really implementing the project with their support with other stakeholders in Bangladesh. Also, there are a lot of senior officials from Bangladesh who have joined. I'll be failing my duties if I don't name the few very prominent ones. I would start with Mr. Muhammad Anwar Farooq, former Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Muhammad Nazirul Islam, Director General, Bangladesh Agriculture Research Institute, Dr. Qazi Abul Kalam, Director Joint Secretary of Department of Agriculture and Marketing, and also Dr. Muhammad Madirul Alam, who is Director of FSD of the AE, and finally the very senior professors of agriculture universities, Professor Razab Ali, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Latif, and Dr. FM Aminul Zaman, who have kindly agreed to join, and so also Mr. Salim Reza Hassan. I'm really grateful to all these luminaries of Dhaka who have joined in this Inception workshop. And finally, I would like to welcome to all the stakeholders of the project, and so also all the participants from Bangladesh, from USA, and from various countries of APARI. Given the time constraint, I would like to stop here. After giving this formal welcome address, I would like the program to move ahead because of the time constraint. To have the program efficiency, I would like to welcome all of you once again, and a big thank you to all of you for really sparing your time to join this Inception workshop. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Ravi, for your welcoming statements. And we are going to now invite the first special guest to make his introductory remarks, Mr. Tyler Babcock, who is the Agricultural Attaché at USAID. Please, Mr. Tyler, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I was on mute. So thank you, everybody. Honorable Additional Secretary Kalal, Director General Asadullah, Director Ali, Director Mia, Ministry of Agriculture colleagues, U.S. government colleagues, and other distinguished guests. Thank you all for joining us this evening, this morning. Assalamu alaikum. So whether virtual or in person, I enjoy our meetings with the Ministry of Agriculture. I can truthfully say in my 2 years that I've been fortunate enough to meet with the Department of Ag Extension within the Ministry of Agriculture on a range of issues. And I've always valued our professional and honest relationship. We have a shared responsibility to serve the people of our two great countries. The initiative we are undertaking today highlights an area which will improve not only the government-to-government relationship between our countries, but also the economic and food safety relationship. I've had many conversations with USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, APHIS, and I can confidently speak for them and the whole of USDA that this initiative to improve phytosanitary trade compliance between our countries is a top priority here in Bangladesh. We value our partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, and I am dedicated to do everything in my power to strengthen the relationship between our organizations, USDA and the Ministry of Agriculture. I hope to one day be able to see the full establishment of the NPPO, the National Plant Protection Office of Bangladesh, because I know that will signify a great advancement in our two-way trading capabilities and relationship. I know we have a lot to get to today, so I'll leave my remarks short. I just want to again thank all the distinguished guests from the Ministry of Agriculture, the Department of Ag Extension, Dr. Ravi and his team, our USDA team. Thank you all so much for joining today. I look forward to the discussion. Dhanobad.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babcock. And so our second guest is Honorable Dr. Kalal, Additional Secretary from MOA in Bangladesh, who unfortunately is joining us a little bit later because of other priorities. So I suggest that we will just move on with the program. And as he joins in, I was told that they will inform me. So we can basically bring him in during the program itself. So if you don't mind, we will just move on, and we will start with the background of the project before Dr. Kalol will join us. And I would like to invite Dr. Jesse Mujitaba Fernandez, who is the International Program Specialist from the Foreign Agriculture Service of USDA. Please, Jesse, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martina. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, it's just Jesse, but thank you for adding the doctor in front of my name. First of all, I would like to just thank everyone for being here today, evening your time. I know that it's been a long day for all of you, so we really appreciate for all of you to join us in this very important launching event. And I just want to say on a personal note that this has been a long time coming. For those of you who have been involved in this process, you know that how long it has taken. We have engaged with the DAE and the PQW since 2014. So we really appreciate your commitment and your dedication and just perseverance in continuing this process and partnership with the USDA. So with that, I would like to also thank the Honorable Additional Secretary, Mr. Kalol, of the Ministry of Agriculture, the Director General, Mr. Asadullah of the DAE, and directors of the Plant Quarantine Wing, as well as the Plant Protection Wing, Mr. Azhar Ali, whom we have worked many times before, and Dr. Abu Saeed for your participation. It is really a pleasure to see many of you again. And then let me just also say thank you so much to USDA and especially the APARI team for organizing this virtual gathering. So with that, I also would like to start by wishing you and your families my personal best for your health and safety during this difficult times. And let me just say that USDA, USAID, and the DAE have a long-standing working relationship through various collaborations since 2014. And most notably is our collaboration with the DAE on the IPPC-sponsored phytosanitary capacity evaluation that was completed in 2018 and presented in person pre-COVID to the Department of Agriculture Extension in both 2018 and 2019. And the evaluation was intended to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the Bangladesh plant health system. And upon completion of the process, the evaluation presented both immense opportunities, but also challenges to the Bangladesh plant health system. And so since then, USDA and USAID have collaborated together with the DAE and the PQW specifically, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture, through a series of discussions and consultations that led to the design of this project that we are launching today. The USDA believed that the establishment of the independent NPPO, the National Plant Protection Organization, that is aligned with science-based and transparent SBS standards is crucial to not only the domestic production and imports, but also to market access and export competitiveness. So with that, we remain committed to working with all of you, our Bangladeshi partners, to help ensure that the work of the Bangladesh NPPO is supported, including what Tyler had mentioned before, bringing on board our sister agency, APHIS, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. APHIS is the lead agency for collaboration to protect the US's agriculture from invasive pests and diseases, and we plan to put your NPPO in touch with the US's NPPO to collaborate and coordinate on capacity building. So with that, let me stop there so we can move on with the program. We look forward to the best ways we can continue our commitment together. And I really look forward to our discussions this evening and learning from your insights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jesse, for this background. And in the next session, we will explore the two technical components of the project. So the first one will be related to NPPO, so National Plant Protection Organization, which will be presented by Dr. Ravi Keterpal. And the second presentation will be conducted by Mr. Dr. Michael Braverman, who is the manager of biopesticide, organic and international capacity building programs at Rutgers University in USA. So Michael will be talking about the minimum residue limits. I just want to let you know that after these presentations, we will have some discussion. So if you have any burning questions or comments, you may already post these questions in the chat box during these presentations, and we will get back to them after. So I would like to invite the first speaker, Dr. Ravi Keterpal, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Martina. I hope you are able to see my PowerPoints.
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes, we can. Just please put it on full screen.
Yeah. Is it on full screen now?
No, not yet.
Just hang on. Okay. Okay.
A bit small, Ravi. Okay, now it's fine. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. So we have this project improving phytosanitary grade compliance in Bangladesh, where there are 4 key partners: USDA, as we mentioned, we heard from them, USAID, then Ministry of Agriculture, Bangladesh, and APARI. I'll be giving you a glimpse of the project, of what we are going to do. Before that, I would like to briefly let you know about APARI, which is a regional organization in Asia Pacific with an objective of strengthening agri-food research and innovation for sustainable agricultural development in the region of Asia and the Pacific. We have 4 thematic areas, of which risk mitigation is one, under which we are doing this project. And we work across the globe with a lot of project sponsors like FAO, WTO, European Union, French Agency for Development, ACIAR, COA, USDA now, and GFAR. And we have a presence in 33 countries. Now, in my presentation, I'll be giving you brief about the background, the project objectives, the key activities, the project team, and how we are going to monitor and evaluate the whole project component. So this slide shows these are actually reminiscence of the past when there was a USDA program on phytosanitary capacity evaluation in Bangladesh. There were very active sessions where 13 modules were run for phytosanitary capacity evaluation with the staff of plant quarantine wing. And from there came out a report, lot of gaps and lot of things which came as an output from this given activity, which was sponsored by USDA. And then a strategic plan of phytosanitary capacity development in Bangladesh in the form of roadmap was prepared. And I'm not going to read this flow diagram. What I would like to highlight here is, as an output of phytosanitary capacity evaluation, we came out with certain critical elements which had to be addressed for establishing the National Plant Quarantine Authority in Bangladesh, which the government is looking into, for finally having an enhanced market access and enhanced biosecurity of the government with the support of USDA FAS in the coming years. Now, there are 4 objectives in the project. If you look objectively, these objectives, there are 2 which address IPPC issues of the Food and Agriculture Organization with the standards from WTO. And there are 2 issues which directly relate to codex issues for trade of WTO. So we have Michael Braverman who will be speaking after me. He'll be addressing the issues related to codex, and APARI team will be addressing issues related to IPPC, International Plant Protection Convention. And in the two objectives, we have a lot of activities earmarked for 2 years, where we have to facilitate collaboration and coordination with Ministry of Agriculture, the Department of Agriculture, Plant Quarantine Wing, Plant Protection Wing, and many other stakeholders to operationalize the NPPO. And the activities are identifying synergies for linkage and to formalize the linkage, developing guidelines for collaboration, coordination for key activities, and creating awareness on the importance of plant protection and quarantine, where we'll be using a lot of social media, we'll be using newspapers, television interviews, radio talks, and a lot of activities which really relate to creating awareness on quarantine and plant protection in Bangladesh. Another key objective is to strengthen the institutional capacity of the NPPO to establish a framework for the formation of National Plant Protection Authority. Here, the activities are the needful revision in the Plant Quarantine Act, as we have done the gaps in the present legislation, establishment of a quarantine training hub from where we can have a long-term capacity building programs, then training of the trainers by conducting online training courses of American Plant Health Inspection Services. There are 14 such courses on SPS. Then development of related SOPs and manuals, and also developing a joint action plan of 3 years between the NPPO and the USDA at the end of the project period. Also, very important activities where we'll be playing an important role is developing functional capacities alongside the technical capacity with the technical training modules. These functional capacities are something very unique, and they help in using your technical capacity to the maximum. Then we'll be also facilitating exposure of few officers in plant quarantine wing in the region to visit some well-established plant quarantine countries, and then creating a portal for information and knowledge management on SPS. As we have seen, the knowledge on SPS is there in Bangladesh, but they're all scattered. They are in different platforms. We just want to bring them all properly to be used by all these stakeholders of public and private for really going through the process of export and import in an efficient way. We'll also try to synergize our input and output with other ongoing related projects of USDA, which may be Trade Facility Agreement Project or Food Safety Project, to see how we give the best of output through synergies. We have a plan for monitoring and evaluation where we'll be having regular project reporting, and we have developed the performance indicators for success, which will be shared with the management. The project team here are the galaxy of people who are based across the globe, who will be actually working in the project. I'm not going to name them. Some are my colleagues, some are our partners, some we have to identify. And the project will be, however, managed and led by Apari from Bangkok. So I would like to end here by very warmly acknowledging and thanking the support from USDA FAST, USAID, and all the staff there, both in Washington and Dhaka, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of Bangladesh for their keen interest and really having this project, Department of Agriculture Extension, the key agency in Bangladesh, where all these things have to happen, and especially to their wings of plant quarantine and plant protection. I would be failing in my duties if I don't warmly, profusely thank people who are the backbones at the stage of project development. From Bangladesh, we had Kwamrun Nahar and Hasanullah, who is now our project coordinator in Bangladesh, and Jesse Mujitaba Fernandez, Iri Burgoa, and Michael Braverman from USDA and Rutgers University, who have been actively constantly pursuing the whole development phase of the project, who really ensured that this happens under the guidance of the senior people like Tyler from USBFRs and like Mr. Kolal from Bangladesh government. With this, I would like to thank all of you for your participation. And this is what you see the PPT of APARI, all our partners and all our donor agencies at the top. And we always thank all our partners and all our donors for making us do what we normally do. Thank you, one and all. Now, my presentation will be followed by that of Mr. Michael Braverman from Rutgers University, who will be looking after the two other objectives of the project related to the MRLs and on the regulatory harmonization. Michael, please.
Thank you very much, Ravi. I'm going to try to bring up my presentation.
Michael, please enlarge it. Thank you.
Yes, I am trying to do that.
And maybe I just remind the participants that they can post their comments or questions in the chat box during these presentations. Thank you.
All right. Hopefully it is now viewed as a full screen and you can all see the presentation.
Yes.
So I'd like to kind of give a broad overview of the project and also mimic the remarks by Dr. Ravi. Many thanks to all the honorable guests and all of the cooperators on this project. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this morning and also kind of focus here on the food safety mission of this project. So this project will be focusing on residue mitigation and also regulatory harmonization. In addition, this is part of a much larger project under the STDF. The overall goal of the project is for regional reductions in pesticide residues through the use of conventional pesticides, followed by the use of microbial biopesticides. This is being done in consultation with many researchers in many countries within both South Asia and Southeast Asia. The project, particularly on that is under the STDF project, focuses on mustard oil, whereas this project focuses on chili pepper. So it's the same approach, but the focus here under this particular project is going to be on chili pepper. As I mentioned, the number of other countries involved, and more specifically cooperating on chili pepper, Bangladesh will be cooperating with Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Indonesia, and Pakistan, focusing on 3 target pests, including thrips, aphids, and whiteflies. We have assembled a list of potential conventional pesticides which we are trying to reduce residues on, and also identified some biopesticides which will be used to maintain pest management. So the overall flow of the residue decline and mitigation project will be first to develop a research protocol, having a field phase where we are applying the conventional pesticide followed by the biopesticide at the end of the season. We will be conducting analysis of the residues and gain an understanding of the relationship between residues and time. This will allow growers to receive guidance on how to extend the time between the last application and harvest in order to reduce residues. This will also be combined with evaluations of efficacy of the biopesticide in order to maintain pest management. Based on the results, it will have a component of farmer education, and then, of course, reporting of the results. The regulatory harmonization component will involve first a survey, an understanding of the current status of regulatory guidelines for biopesticides in Bangladesh. We will have a follow-up of capacity building in this area and also harmonization with other countries in South Asia and Southeast Asia. We will also be joining an effort by CropLife involving harmonization of bioefficacy protocols and mutual recognition of data. This is a critical component because bioefficacy is usually a point where industry is trying to decide on investment in registration of products. And in particular, for biopesticides, this is a significant component. We'll also be working on international exchange of data in the context of biopesticides. There are efforts within OECD to promote international exchange of data, and we want to promote that and make Bangladesh aware of these efforts so they can participate and benefit from this component. As I mentioned, we will be using biopesticides to mitigate residues, and these biopesticides themselves have to be recognized as exempt from tolerance in importing countries. In most cases, they are, but we're also cooperating with the country Chile on developing recognition of biopesticides as exempt products within Codex. So this will expand the utility of this project beyond just Bangladesh and have international recognition within Codex. Some of the events, we held an Inception workshop in which Bangladesh was a participant back in July. We also held a group lab training in August, field group training also in August. Just last week, and some which is still going to be occurring, we had a more focused lab training, and we will continue that next week, involving training on sample extraction and analysis. So we have been involved with scientists in the plant protection wing, notably Mr. Ferdus and also Subhatra Kumar Das. We've also taken a virtual tour of their laboratory to understand their capacity and what the needs are for training in pesticide analysis. The plan for the regulatory harmonization component, like everything else these days, will be virtual, targeting somewhere in the June-July time period. Initially, this and all of the trainings would have been one-on-one. We hope that at some point we can do that as well. As everybody knows, that is going to be dictated by the status of COVID. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time. And I guess Martina will be moderating and deciding on the timing for questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for this interesting presentation. So I'm sure there are a lot of burning questions and comments from the participants. We have 93 participants who joined us today. And I saw there's one comment that was made by Dr. Khan, that this project shall have linkages with the present initiative of developing Bangla Gap. So I'm not sure whether Mr. Khan would like to elaborate, or Michael, you could comment on that.
Okay, so I interpret the word gap as good agricultural practice. And within the context of pesticides, I interpret that as like the use patterns of the pesticide. Is that a correct interpretation?
Maybe Dr. Khan, if you would like to speak up, you may unmute yourself. Or anybody else who would like to react on this, please.
So we will, the capacity building, and as part of the residue mitigation project, will involve the use of a gap. And essentially, we're going to be modifying the gap by including biopesticides. I don't know if that addresses your question.
Thank you. Yeah. May I reflect on it? If you may.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you. I am from Department of Agriculture Marketing, Reza Ahmed Khan. So there has been a recent development regarding Bangla Gap also from our very Ministry of Agriculture. So that's why I mentioned the thing, because as you have mentioned already, that it is linked to the gap thing, and many of the things IPCC and your SPS things are related to gap, I think. And to have its utility extended to the export market, as we have mentioned before in the background, I think it should incorporate those capacity. Maybe it would be better if you can think of it somehow, because these are all parallel or similar type of activities. Because on that part, we'd also need something like that, national accredited systems or auditing authorities or certification bodies, which I think that in PPO that you are envisioning would be, capacitated to do those things. So I can see some future linkages in these two initiatives, maybe. That's why I mentioned the thing.
Yeah, I think there is, since you are in marketing, I think the comment that I would make is I think there's certainly a good opportunity for interpretation on how we are reducing residues and how that impacts marketing and potential for export markets.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe dam could be also taken into the train along with you, maybe with the DAE, because we should also be focusing on the marketing and supply chain part, because I think traceability would be becoming important too, as you would also targeting the export market. So yeah, maybe there should be some linkages also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. So I see that there are no comments in the chat box, but maybe we'll just give you a little bit more time to reflect on the presentations. And if you feel like you just want to speak up, just please raise your hand. If you feel that this is easier than typing in the chat box. Sasi, do you see anybody raising their hands? Can you please help me?
Martina, we don't have any hands raised.
Okay. So anybody would like to reflect on the two presentations while we are waiting for the participants? And we are also still waiting for Dr. Kalol, Additional Secretary from MOA. He still has not joined us, but hopefully he will be joining us soon. And in the meantime, there's Mr. Fakrul, who would like to speak up. So we can unmute you and you can speak directly to the speakers. Sasi, could you please help me to unmute him?
Yes. Mr. Fakru, can you please unmute? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Please go ahead.
Okay. It's me, Fakrul Islam. I'm from Bangladesh. It is really this or not? If my country is part of IPPC, do we need to have PRA to export to other countries? Have I been able to clear my question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fakrul. Who would like to answer, Michael or Ravi?
I can answer. Well, PRA is obligatory for export and import both now under the new WTO norms. And there are norms of undertaking PRA. We'll be having one of the training on PRA, best risk analysis, like how to really conduct a PRA prior to import or when you are exporting. And without PRA, unless you have a bilateral agreement with any country, you cannot export and import. And already the plant quarantine wing is taking up PRA, but they just need to gear up in more with the international norms, which we will ensure during the course of the project. Secondly, Martina, if you permit me, the first question was raised by Dr. Razat Khan, if I could catch his name, who was from marketing. And his question is very important because in the initial phase of the project, we are going to establish a lot of linkages within Bangladesh of the public sector, which is PQW and PPW, with the stakeholders from private sector in the whole agriculture value chain. And there, I think we must include the marketing people, because this point, and I hope from Department of Agriculture Extension, we will get all kind of stakeholders where we'll try to establish a kind of a formal linkage in the course of the project so that ultimately everyone knows and everyone contributes for the same cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for this clarification. Are there any other questions? We have also
Martina, if you allow me, I just would like to supplement.
Okay, please go ahead, Dr. Varapasa.
Yeah, this is the question regarding the PRA necessity. Yes, as Dr. Ravi said, it is compulsory unless you have the free trade agreement with any country, FTA. And unless that is there, you cannot export it. So right now, Bangladesh, if it wants to export, PRA is necessary. And this project will certainly support how to do PRA and then empower the plant quarantine staff for both import and exports, how PRA can be assessed or prepared. And the other 2 points raised by the marketing person, Dr. Reza Khan, very, very relevant regarding the traceability and also regarding the gap. So gap, Dr. Michael Beverman has already replied that it is taken care, and this biopesticide use definitely will be part of the gap. And regarding traceability, it is right now not within the purview of this project, but that is an important point which can be discussed maybe as a later at a stage. But right now the traceability is not part of this particular project. It is capacity building, as Dr. Ravi has explained about this. Just this is what I wanted to add. And I think Dr. Kolal has come, Martina. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Varaprasad. Yes, so Dr. Kalol is here with us. If there are no other questions, which we can still allocate some time for questions later on, but maybe we can call Dr. Kalol. Dr. Kalol, are you here? Okay, so maybe not. In that case, we can continue with the questions while waiting. So there is a question from Mr. Nahar. What is your thinking about different types of pesticide residue tests? Who would like to answer this, Michael or Ravi?
I think I'll try to answer that. I'm not sure exactly which tests you're referring to, but perhaps you're meaning tests that are more publicly available or don't need perhaps as much sophisticated equipment. Within the context of this study, we are going to be using analytical equipment, chromatography equipment, which is, I guess, relatively sophisticated because we want to have confidence in the data that we are generating. There are certainly lower level tests which are good for monitoring purposes, which don't require as sophisticated equipment, but are useful to monitor to see if you are within the range of where you think you are. So there are different levels of tests that require different levels of sophistication, different levels as far as ease of use and differences in cost. And all of them have a place within the entire context of what we're trying to achieve. We will only be using, I would say, the higher end equipment.
Thank you, Michael. I hope that this answered the question. There's another one, which is for both of you. What is the main difference between India and Bangladesh in exporting, where India is doing great, but Bangladesh is lagging behind? And then another, I think, follow-up question is whether Bangladesh gap is enough to export in America and EU.
Yeah.
Ravi, please.
Yeah, the first question I can answer. What's the difference between India and Bangladesh in terms of trade, if I'm right? Can you repeat the question?
What is the main difference, excuse me, what is the main difference between India and Bangladesh in exports, where India is doing great, but Bangladesh is lagging?
Okay, in fact, the main difference cannot be one. There are a couple of them. We have done a complete phytosanitary capacity evaluation, and we could see a lot of issues in terms of legislation, number one, which is not compliant to WTO completely, which we have factored for working in this project. One is some components of the legislation. Then technical components. In Bangladesh, there is a lack of official, clear networking of the plant quarantine and plant protection wing of Department of Agriculture Extension with the research institutions. There are a large number of very good research institutions like BRI, BARI, there are universities and all, where you have the great experts of plant protection who need to be officially roped in the whole quarantine activity. And apart from that, Bangladesh at present does not have a clear provision or stand on post-entry quarantine, which actually builds the confidence of the importers and exporters. And apart from that, In Bangladesh, quarantine is more like a charity. There is hardly any quarantine fee which is charged. It's only few takas. The quarantine fee has to be quite reasonable, and the money earned from quarantine has to be recycled or reused for improving the quarantine facilities and all. So that point is missing, and there are few specific technical areas where Bangladesh needs to work, especially the Ministry of Commerce, where they need to have a clear approach to have SPS diplomacy. Like we have SPS standards, there are SPS diplomacy now, which is being used for export and import, where you, even if you don't have enough information on PRA or facilities for disinfection, disinfestation, by using the negotiation skill through SPS diplomacy and signing a bilateral agreement, Bangladesh can export and import to anyone. And the country most favorable for Bangladesh right now to boost export and import is United States of America. I have studied all their profile of export and import to various countries. They actually export about $50 million worth agriculture produce, but they import $100 million worth of produce. There's a balance is not really very good. And Bangladesh needs to be more compliant to the international standards of phytosanitary measure of IPPC and MRLs of Codex. And I think Bangladesh has a great potential. They can be at par or maybe much ahead of India in terms of trade.
Thank you, Ravi. I think this is stimulating more questions, actually for both of you, Michael and Ravi. So there's a question from Mr. Hawk. How can we set up MRL value in the context of Bangladesh? For example, we cannot export many many fresh fruits.
Yeah, I'll take a first crack at that question. Okay, so as far as setting up MRL values, in order to set up MRL values, you have to have the capacity to do the residue studies if you're trying to set up your own MRLs. And that is one of the things that we're going to be achieving within this project is learning how to properly conduct residue studies. The second part of the question is, why do you want to set up your own MRLs? Well, you probably might want to do that from a food safety perspective. But if your question is within the context of the second part of your comment, which is about exporting many fresh agricultural fruits and your issues with exporting them, really that's an education issue. That is a compliance issue. And a part of what we are trying to do as far as meeting exports, when you are mitigating the residues and implementing the use of the biopesticide at the end of the season, your result is to have less residues. So you're essentially trying to comply with the MRLs of the other countries that you're trying to export to. Now we don't happen to be working with fresh fruits, but this same concept can be applied to other crops. So this is sort of like we're using peppers as a model system, and then from this training, Bangladesh can subsequently decide, hey, if we need to focus on fresh fruit export, then additional projects can be taken to involve fresh fruits.
Thank you, Michael. So there are more questions coming, also comments. Dr. Khan is commenting that international harmonization and recognition is required, as well as national interpretation of the standards and protocol. So I think this is something that will be also raised by or addressed by the project, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly the international recognition that we are going to be comparing the data to is most likely Codex. And then I'm looking for feedback from you on in the context of chili pepper, for example, what are some of the key export countries so that we know what the target MRL is. In other words, if we want to be able to comply and meet MRL requirements from countries that you're trying to export to, then we need to know what that target is.
Yeah, so this is a bit of, this is a question back to the participants, right?
Yes.
Michael, so they can comment on it in the chat box. And in the meantime, we can address other questions. So Mr. Hogg is asking what infrastructural setup is required for exporting agriculture products to US? I think this is a follow-up question to what was already, I think, mentioned by, I think Ravi was talking about that. Ravi, please. You are muted.
You're muted. Yeah.
Yeah, for exporting to US, Bangladesh has to simply follow the WTO norms. And wherever they cannot, they need to negotiate with US, which is possible. We'll be talking about the negotiations in the PRA and in the export-import market access things once we have our training courses. But there is one question, if I can answer, Martina, is if we have any program to set up vapor heat treatment technology in Bangladesh, which can help export fresh fruit and vegetables in Japan as well as many other countries. Vapor heat treatment is a very specialized disinfestation treatment, normally used for disinfesting the commodity from fruit flies. And this training is imparted in a place in an island called Okinawa in Japan. And we have not provisioned the establishment of any infrastructure in this project. This project was basically on capacity building and regulatory harmonization and not on really building the infrastructure, which has been done earlier by a lot of US projects. So, however, for the benefit of people in Bangladesh, I can advise them to please contact JICA office. JICA is Japan International Cooperation Agency, if I'm right, JICA, J-I-C-A. And JICA provides training from developing countries at their cost. They sponsor 2 trainees from about 5 or 6 countries every year. About a dozen trainees they have. And I think Bangladesh should be applying for that. They will definitely get. And they need to, after the training, I think it is worth having the vapor heat treatment technology at the quarantine station, not now. But at the same time, quarantine is not only at the plant quarantine wing at Dhaka. There are a lot of seaport and other airport. There are more than 25 in Bangladesh. They will have to see very clearly which is the seaport from where they have maximum import or export of fresh fruit and vegetable crops. So in that given facility, they should develop this kind of a protocol. It should not be everywhere.
So, Dr. Ravi, thank you for that. If I could just add one comment to that, Martina. So the question was speaking about what's required to export to the U.S. And, I see Mr. Khan is commenting on the side that, the compliance requirements need to be understood in order to reach any export market, not just the US. And so absolutely, I agree, Mr. Khan, that an exporter is going to need to know what they need to do in order to meet compliance for that country. And so the way countries interact with each other in terms of phytosanitary conditions is through an NPPO, the National Plant Protection Office. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to work with the Department of Ag Extension to establish an NPPO, to establish the National Plant Protection Office within Bangladesh so that those conversations can be had. So it works both ways, so that our NPPO in the US can speak with Bangladesh's NPPO about establishing and having a full understanding of what needs to happen for trade of phytosanitary goods. So I hope that helps a little bit, is that in order for our two countries to speak more sophisticatedly about phytosanitary conditions, we need to have our two NPPOs talking. And so one of our goals with the project that we're undertaking with the Department of Ag Extension is establishing the NPPO here in Bangladesh so that trade can happen both ways, from the US to Bangladesh, from Bangladesh to the US, but it's greater than that. It's Bangladesh to the world, really. So that's the goal of the program. So thank you. Thank you, Martina.
Thank you, Tyler. Anybody would like to react on that? On what Tyler has just said?
No, I think Tyler has mentioned the very clear way of how to move ahead in terms of establishing a stronger bilateral relationship with US. And the key point he mentioned was the last sentence: there should be more communication between the two NPPOs, from the US side and from the Bangladesh side. And I believe once we have these FS modules, which we will be using for training, for capacity building on various aspects of international standard, I think there will be more awareness and much better dialogue between US and Bangladesh in terms of trade.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi, for this comment. And talking about communication, I mean, there is a comment in the chat box that activities of this project should be more publicized, as many stakeholders are not aware of this project in Bangladesh. And this is something that, of course, we will be doing as part of our KM knowledge management efforts through this project. There's already a press release that has gone out today. We will be also following up through social media and through direct stakeholders. And in fact, I would like to ask you to fill in the form that Sasireka has shared with you, because if you share your contacts, it would be very useful for us to connect with you through the social media, but also through the future communication in the context of this project. So please do fill in that form that Sasireka shared through the chat box.
Yeah, and Martina, if I could just add on one little thing to that also. I agree that this is both of these projects, so Dr. Braverman's and Dr. Ravi's, the projects that are ongoing right now, our goal is to get the information out. And so we depend on everybody that is with us here today. Help us spread the word, help us make these programs successful. So, we're open to ideas, any ideas that anybody on this call has about how we can be more successful. We're open to it. But I agree with Martina's comments also. So thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. We still have a little bit of time. I think we can take just 2 more minutes for the questions. And if there are some other burning questions, we can always address them later by email. But for developing, so Dr. Hawk is asking, for developing the institutional capacity of relevant stakeholders related with agriculture product export, how is this project going to help the country? So it's in terms of institutional capacity development. Ravi or Michael? Who would like to answer this?
Well, I can tell you, I comment from the standpoint of the MRL perspective. It's enhancing, as I mentioned, it's enhancing the capacity to understand how to do residue studies. And that is something that can lead to a better ability to understand how the pesticides are degrading and what the levels are of products that you're potentially exporting. And so I think that's the connection. But Ravi may have other aspects he'd like to comment on.
Right. Thank you, Michael. To add what Michael has said, our objective in the project is to build capacity at all levels. When we have the capacity building, technical capacity building courses, it will be individual capacity we are building. We are establishing a training hub, a training for the trainers hub in the plant quarantine wing, which will be institutional capacity for years to come. And then we are trying to have some tweaking in the existing Plant Quarantine Act, which is not making Bangladesh completely WTO compliant, which we have diagnosed while doing the phytosanitary capacity evaluation. So we'll be having a legal consultant working with us, and that will be the capacity of the enabling environment. So we will have 3 levels of capacity built: individual level, institutional level, and of the enabling environment. And what Martina is going to do in the whole program is she's going to blend this technical capacity which Michael and our Apari team will be building, she'll be blending it with another kind of capacity that is building soft skills, what we call the functional capacity, which is very crucial. And that will really help you to understand the complexities, how to navigate the complexities in the whole agriculture value chain, and how to really make your technical skills much sharper and much acceptable whatever you do, wherever you do. And Martina can add much better on this blending of capacity because she is the key player to really do that.
Thanks, Ravi. I think we can do that also. Additionally, we can share some more information with the participants since we are running out of time, unless you would like me to say something now. But yeah, I can just say that basically what we have been doing in the other project is that we kind of departed from the realization that technical capacity is really not sufficient in order to apply it in practice, to scale it up, and to bring it to use. So that is why we have identified some supporting kind of soft skills or functional capacities, we call them, that we are also building. We have integrated them in that technical program of the project. And these are different capacities. For example, capacities to collaborate, to communicate and reflect on the different issues together, and many different aspects. So for the other project we have with STDF, we had a survey at the beginning of the project where we identified these kind of skills which are really needed by scientists, by researchers in this field, and we have been trying to really, as we are going along with the technical training program, to bring them in. So, for example, for the lab training that we are currently doing, we have brought more interaction. We have brought some really introducing like the basic principles of training of trainers, which before was purely focusing on just technical issues. So we are bringing these soft skills. So how to do this kind of training in the participants' institutions, how to also bring more reflection in terms of, for example, after action review. So this is something we will be doing at the end of the project, but also doing situation analysis. So, okay, the participants are now trained in those technical aspects, but what are they going to do in their institutions next? So there need to be some kind of situation analysis and dialogue with their supervisors, with the managers, etc., in order to bring it forward, to tailor it to those specific participants. So this is something, these are just some concrete examples what we are doing and what we will be also bringing into this project. Okay, so if you would like to know more, please write to us and we will be also in touch with you. It seems that there is a very burning question from Mr. Hayat. he's saying that he would like to ask Ravi something in terms of import. It's a very long question. So we are importing many other grain seeds from USA and Canada for industry purposes. And in that case, we have to obtain IP from Ministry of Agriculture. So my question is that in the IP authority, it is mentioning phyto certificates from exporting countries, to mention also additional declaration that the consignment and are free from soil and extraneous materials. But suppliers that could not maintain to issue the certificate with the additional clause. So in that case, what should be your advice? And then on the other hand, our country is also required a fumigation certificate for import into the country, but in Canada, they do not provide this, since Canada is zero tolerance. Please advise. Maybe this could be the last question, since we really need to move on.
Yeah, it's a very specific question and very interesting question, which is generally an issue in export and import. And what I would say here, if US and Canada cannot provide additional declaration that the consignment is free from soil and extraneous material, I think it is not a very big issue. What one can do is, there is a pre-export quarantine, and Bangladesh should discuss with US and PPO, and one of the officials should be in US to ensure that even if some soil or extraneous material is coming along with the seed, it is actually collected from a field which is free from any disease. So that is one arrangement. Second arrangement is fixing a threshold. Many times when you have huge metric tons of grains coming, million tons and all, it's not easy. It's not US and Canada. No one can guarantee you a complete freedom from soil and extraneous material. So the second option is, like, if they cannot guarantee, what you can do is you accept it, but request US, if you don't have your own facility, whatever you are importing, you do a proper sampling. And in the sampling, whatever soil and other materials you are finding, please see if that soil is free from any disease or pest or not. And here the exporting country, as per WTO norms, have an obligation to help you. Under technical clause 9 of the SPS agreement, they are supposed to help you to ensure that, because it is in their interest that they export this million metric tons, and it is your interest that you import. So a dialogue, again, communication, and there are a couple of options you can use. And I think US is one country you will see which is one of the most export-import friendly country in terms of when you have issues in quarantine. As I have seen it myself while working in quarantine for about 30 years, there were so many issues and every issue had a solution. Every issue had a solution. So this we can talk separately also, and we can talk with the NPPO to make sure that this does not become a hindrance for import for Bangladesh. We can talk to both the parties to see the viable, proper way of going ahead with what is going on. I mean, this should not be a reason to stop export or import, in my view.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Exactly. Yeah, Martina, I'll just add one quick comment. Hyatt from Citigroup. So first, thank you for importing grains from the US. And again, it just speaks to our work here with the NPPO. So what would happen is Bangladesh has some reason why they require an additional declaration for soil and extraneous materials to be added to the phytosanitary certificate, right? They have some justification for that. And in order for us to find out what that justification is it would go to USDA. So industry would ask USDA, why is Bangladesh requiring this additional declaration? And then our NPPO would have a discussion with the Bangladesh NPPO about why this declaration is there. And is there anything that we can do at USDA to remove that declaration? If we believe it's not needed in the US, what can we do to remove it? And we would have a discussion about what information we can provide to Bangladesh in order to remove that declaration. Yeah. And so right now what we're doing is, that's why I am here. Hyatt, if you have an issue, please contact me. That's the whole purpose why I am here, is to help facilitate that trade. So right now we're working with Dr. Ali within the plant quarantine wing, and he's been great at addressing any issues that we have. We have a good working relationship with him. So this issue, just let us know. I can follow up with you and we'll try to resolve it. So no problem.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. Thank you. Now, in fact, there are so many interesting questions that are coming and different issues, but I think we need to really move on. And maybe in the meantime, our speakers could answer some of these questions directly in the chat box so that we save some time. And I would like to ask whether Dr. Kalol is here. Maybe Mr. Asan Ullah could update us. Mr. Ullah, is Mr. Kalol here?
Oh, yes, I'm here and I'm just watching the programs, though I have another program, so I'm sorry I am not here in time, but I'm enjoying your presentations and other things. Actually, I'm from a government part of Bangladesh. We appreciate USDA and your initiatives to enhance our quarantine facilities. And you talked about not only technical capacity building, also functional capacity building is needed. I'm really enriched by the speech, the deliberation, and my government and also Agriculture Extension Department, it has quarantine wing. I believe they are working good, but they have had to improve by our both parts dialogues and collaboration. That's all. No, that's not all. I would. This is first day I introduced myself with you, and I feel honored for that. And my government, Agriculture Ministry, you know, our Agriculture Minister, Mr. Razak, is an agriculture scientist, and he has a vast knowledge on these issues. I'm a little bit confused. Our quarantine department is doing many things, but so far agricultural research concerned, our Agriculture Research Council we have. So I will later talk to our DGDA that if we can work together, these two organizations, then it may give a much more better result. And with these few words, I'm really grateful to you to invite me, and I joined in this meeting, Zoom meeting. So I'll talk if it's needed later. After that moment, I'm just thanking you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Kalol, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you very much for your comments. We are very happy that you are enjoying this workshop as much as we do. Unfortunately, we are kind of closing, we are coming to an end slowly. But before that happens, there are there is one additional item on the agenda, and that is technical remarks by the directors of the very important wings of the Department of Agriculture Extension. So one is the Plant Quarantine Wing and Plant Protection Wing. So I think it's time now to invite Dr. Mohammed Azhar Ali, the director of Plant Quarantine Wing, to share his reflection, his remarks on this technical project, please.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening from Dhaka time, and thank you to each and every time of you for being here with us today. On behalf of Plant Quarantine Wing, DAE, Bangladesh, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you before we get started. Firstly, I would like to bid a very warm welcome to respected Additional Secretary of Extension Wing, Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Hassanuzzaman Kollol, along with Mr. Asadullah, Director General of DAE, enhancing Abu Said, Director Plant Protection Wing, DAE. I can express my special gratitude to Taylor Bebrock, Agriculture Attaché, USDA, Jesse Mujitaba Fernandez from USDA, Mohammad Nuruzzaman, USAID, Dr. Ravi Keterpal from APARI, and Dr. Michael Breverman from Rutgers University, USA. We have gathered on the occasion of today's virtual interception workshop to launch the project on improving phytosanitary trade compliance in Bangladesh, which is jointly implemented by USDA, USAID, Ministry of Agriculture, Bangladesh, and APARI. The key partners of the project are Plant Quarantine Wing DAE and Plant Protection Wing DAE under Department of Agriculture Extension, Ministry of Agriculture, Bangladesh. APARI along with IR4 Rutgers University, USA as implementing agency, USDA, offering technical assistance to relevant Government of Bangladesh agency through a series of capacity building activities, including SPS training led by USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Services and USAID, providing financial assistance. The project activities aim to support National Plant Protection Organization, Bangladesh, and boost regulatory harmonization of MRLs with Codex. You may know that the Plant Quarantine Wing DAE is providing service through 30 entry-exit points and is the most important part of Department of Agricultural Extension. Bangladesh, as one of the signatories of World Trade Organization to sustain in international aid, as to abide by the WTO's SPS agreement to conduct importing and exporting activities of plant and plant products. Very recent, we have started to issue online certificates from all active entry-exit points, which should help to boost up the activities of which newest project. During the next few months, you will be getting to know more about our different initiatives through our planned activities and special events, which will be able to join in and get your very own hands-on experiences. Of course, this milestone is only the beginning of so much more work, and I expect the department to see this through, all the while ensuring that this exercise remains very much a participatory process right through. Finally, let me wish you all a functioning and fruitful session. My welcome once again, and hope your active participation and a productive workshop today. Thank you very much for patient sharing. However, we inform that there are so many USDA programs for trade facilitation, and we are really concerned about our risk-based management with proper lab test support. So it would be appreciated if USDA think about for it plant quarantining. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. Thank you very much for these thoughts also that you gave us. Now I would like to invite Dr. Mohammed Abu Sayed Mia, who is the director of the Plant Protection Wing of the Department of Agriculture Extension. Please, Dr. Mia.
Hey, yes. The host has asked me to start your video. No, video is not my video is sir. Thank
Yeah, we
you.
can hear you very well now.
Thanks, Martina, to give me a chance. It is a great opportunity for me to join such a type of Inception workshop to know different issues regarding free trade agreement, IPPC, institutional capacity, development or building. And I'm recently joined in Plan Protection Wing as director. So it is my great privilege. Very nearly, I was working in National Agriculture Training Academy as NATA under the Ministry of Agriculture as Director General, whose main function is capacity development of MOA personnel. So it is my great opportunity. First, I like to thank Mr. Hasanuzzaman Kollol, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. and respected Director General, Mr. Mohammad Asadullah, Department of Agricultural Extension in Bangladesh, Dr. Ravi Keterpal, Executive Secretary from APARI, JC, FS USDA, Taylor, Agriculture Attaché, USDA, Mr. Michael Braverman, Rutgers University, USA, consultants, my colleagues, dear participants from different organizations, companies, and stakeholders participating the webinar Inception workshop in improving phytosanitary trade compliance in Bangladesh. Good day to you all and Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and good afternoon in Bangladesh. I'm very proud to have you all the present in auspicious Inception workshop. I'm very glad to know that the USDA and STDF in collaboration with APARI is working with the Plant Protection Wing and Plant Quarantine Wing of the Department of Agricultural Extension for extending support for phytosanitary trade compliance and pesticide residue mitigation that will comply with trade compliance of the international regulations, which ultimately help Bangladesh and to boosting up our agricultural trade by not reshipment of our products because of presence of high MRLs, heavy metals, and pests, and as well as safeguard our agriculture from foreign pests. We know that as a signatory to the FAO IPCC and WTO, Bangladesh has to comply with the sanitary and phytosanitary compliance in the event of trade. It is highly appreciated that APARI will work with USDA, FS, and the DA authorities to enhancing capacity of the Bangladesh plant health system to boost regulatory and harmonization for registration of biopesticides, increase awareness of the importance of harmonization of MRLs with codex, and promote an integrated pest management approach. I assure you that Plant Protection Wing of the Department of Agricultural Extension will always be in touch with USDA, USAID, and APARI to learn how to analyze maximum residue analysis, that is MRLs, for pesticide residue mitigation and conducting laboratory analysis for other relating to food health and contamination, etc. The Plant Protection Wing also assured we will do everything possible from our end and work hand to hand with USDA, USAID, and APARI in every cases to build capacity to our officials so that they are capable enough to analyze pesticide contamination, additives, etc. I am very grateful to our Honorable Additional Secretary, Mr. Hasanuzzaman Kollol, for his kind presence in this auspicious event. I am also grateful to our Director General, Department of Agricultural Extension, Mr. Asadullah, and all honorable guests and colleagues and representatives for different organizations for their kind presence. I'm sure that if we work together, we'll achieve developing country very near. Finally, I like to say that I'm very happy and convey my heartfelt thanks to all of you and your kind presence in the Inception workshop. Thank you very much. Thanks all in this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mia. That was very inspiring. Thank you so much. We have now come to an end of this workshop, and we are moving to have the concluding remarks. And as the first guest, we would like to invite Dr. Mohammed Asadullah, Director General of the Department of Agriculture Extension. Please, Dr. Asadullah, the floor is yours. Dr. Asadullah, are you there?
Honorable, our Additional Secretary, Mr. Hassanuzzaman Kollul, Minister of Agriculture, respected Mr. Anwar Farooq, former Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Ravi Keterpal, Executive Secretary from APARI, Ceci Hernandez, FS USD, Tyler Bebeck, and other stakeholders. Our two Director of Plant Protection Wing, Mr. Dr. Abu Said Mia and Dr. Azhar Ali, Director of Plant Quarantine, my colleagues, consultant, dear participants from different organizations, companies and stakeholders participating the Inception workshop on improving phytosanitary trade compliance in Bangladesh. Good day to you all. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and also good afternoon. I am sorry for my late joining because I was busy in another meeting on which I physically present there. So I don't join timely. Sorry for that. I'm really honored to be present here with you all in the Inception workshop. I'm very glad to know that the USDA and STDF in collaboration with APARI has extended their hands to help Bangladesh make competency in the development of phytosanitary capacity and mitigation pesticide residue, and that is why they have taken initiative to work with the Plant Quarantine Wing and Plant Protection Wing of Department of Agricultural Extension for improving phytosanitary trade compliance and pesticide residue mitigation for complying with trade compliance of the importing countries that help Bangladesh boosting up our agricultural trade as well as safeguard our agriculture from foreign waste. As a signatory to the FAO, IPPC and WTO, Bangladesh has to comply with the sanitary and phytosanitary compliance in the event of trade, especially in case of plant and plant products. It is very encouraging that APARI will work with USDA, Foreign Agriculture Service, and the DAE authorities to implement various prioritized activities like facilitating collaboration and coordination with Ministry of Agriculture, the DAE, Plant Quarantine Wing, Plant Protection Wing, and other relevant stakeholders to operationalize the NPPO, enhancing capacity of the Bangladesh plant health system, etc., to boost regulatory harmonization for phytosanitary compliance and registration of biopesticide. So far, I know that the project aims to support trade policy by pursuing the development of rule-based international system that facilitate global trade and to support trade capacity building and food security by enhancing partner countries' capacity for agricultural development and participation in international trade. I do believe that this project will help build capacity our personnel to make competent in respect of port inspection surveillance, pest risk analysis, phytosanitary inspection, establishing the area of low pest prevalence and pest-free areas with detection and diagnosis of pest and detection of MRLs, and biopesticide registration in Bangladesh, which will boost export of our product as well as safeguard our agriculture from foreign pests. I am very grateful to our additional secretary, Mr. Hassanuzzaman Kollur, for his kind presence in this auspicious event. I am also grateful to all honorable guests and colleagues and respective representatives from different organizations for their kind presence. I expect if we work together, we can build a progressive Bangladesh. First, that will help our country to make a developing country soon. I am really thankful to all of you for your kind presence and in the Inception workshop. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asadullah. Thank you very much for being with us the whole time, and thank you for your concluding remarks. I would now like to invite Dr. Keterpal from APARI, please.
Thank you, Martin.
And share your reflection. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have spoken a lot, and I think we are racing against time. I'll just take 1 minute. I'll take this opportunity to thank USDA FAST and USAID for taking APARI as the implementing partner. I would like to thank Mr. Kolal for his kind of acceptability of the project and the way he looks at for the future of Bangladesh. I really appreciate his suggestion of networking with the research organizations, which he just mentioned. And here the Bangladesh Agriculture Research Council, which is also a member of APARI, with whom we work very closely, will ensure that there is excellent coordination and cooperation and linkage, and we'll try to formalize those linkages. And also about the awareness generation on quarantine. I think we don't need to do much. COVID-19 has done it. Everyone understands what is quarantine now. The day you have to travel, you know what is quarantine. People were not knowing in developing countries much, but people understand the importance of quarantine. They understand the importance of these organisms, which are dangerous, infectious. So that awareness has come. But we have one communication specialist who works in Bangladesh, who's working in our team for a television channel, and she's doing all the press release, and we'll have a couple of other things where plant quarantine awareness of this USDA program must go to a common man in Bangladesh, whereby there's a better mobilization also by the government and by all the stakeholders to really make sure that we do our best. So with these few words, I would like to thank all my APARI team members also who have been working behind the scene, who have been helping me to develop the whole project. And my thanks to everyone in USDA and everyone in government of Bangladesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ravi. And as the last speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Tyler Babcock to deliver his closing remarks on behalf of USDA. Please, Tyler.
So thank you, Martina. I would also just like to express my thanks to Honorable Additional Secretary Kolal, Dr. Ali, Dr. Mia, Director General Asadullah. Thank you all for your comments. Dr. Ravi and the APARI team, Dr. Braverman and the Rutgers team, thank you all. I learned a lot today. I'm glad we were able to have this dialogue. I think the bottom line is that we're all here to help farmers, and the more communication that we have between ourselves, we're able to help the farmers from both Bangladesh and the United States. So as I said in my opening remarks, we greatly value our relationship with the Ministry of Agriculture, with the Plant Protection Wing, with the Plant Quarantine Wing of the Department of Ag Extension. So again, just thank you all for your time. I look forward to getting these projects going and seeing success soon. So thank you all. Thank you. Donabad.
Thank you very much, Tyler. And I think we would like to take a photo, and I would like Sasireka to just say a few words.
Yeah, we kindly request the participants to turn on their video and just within few seconds, we'll try to capture. Yes, I will wait for the participants to turn on the video for a screenshot. Like this would be our group photo.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Now we can.
Just a second.
Yeah, participants haven't turned on their videos. Sorry for that. Yeah, just a few more seconds.
Ehsanullah, you should switch on your video. You're the key man there.
Yeah.
Oh, you come on other video. I see. You are the two Ehsanullahs, huh?
Yes, because one
Hasanullah, Asadullah, two men, Ullah.
Okay.
One Hasanullah, one Asad.
Yes, we do have the pictures now. Thank you so much for the patience and thank you for the participants who turned on your video.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Bye, Jesse and
Thank you
Irene,
all.
especially who've done a lot.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martina and Sasireka.
Hasanullah.
Yes. Huh?